Hello, my name is Ilona and today is Monday, July 3rd, 2023, and there is so much going on in the world, especially in France right now. France is on fire, so to speak. There are so many riots happening, destruction. I already put a message on that on my Telegram channel that I have a feeling that a lot of dark energies are really on top of that as well, escalating things. And later on, after I posted my message, I actually saw news that a lot of activists were joining the riot, the people rioting in France as well. They were like, yeah, we're going to join that. So obviously to escalate, dark energies want chaos, they want confusion, they want anger. So unfortunately, they will push this through. And so I am a bit ambivalent towards what's happening in France. On one side, I do believe it is necessary, so to speak, or what is happening, but it does hurt my heart. And when I see that people come, go to their stores and see their stores are completely smashed up and destroyed. People pour their everything in there, their energy, and it's completely destroyed. And it's just not everywhere in France. France is of course a big country, but certain parts it's just not safe. They want to that Macron will announce the emergencies, and so they can actually get military in there. And it wouldn't surprise me if that would lead to other things that will place certain military in certain positions. I saw a message this morning that in Switzerland there are military equipment. They're spreading that as well, because there are also riots happening in Switzerland and in parts of Belgium. So it's spreading. And I understand there is a lot of frustration and a lot of anger. But the problem is, if you work with that, if you don't first feel through that and become stronger, that the frustration and the anger that you put out, you'll see return to you. It will just create more chaos and more negative energies. But I do fully understand people that are frustrated and angry, but I just don't know if this is the true way to go. To me, it feels just very painful to see. I also shared a clip of an historical building in France that completely collapsed, and it's just, to me, it's quite devastating. But I just wanted to take a look with the energies, and it was very surprising, the cards that I've got. First of all was the Two of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups for the central card, the Four of Pentacles in the past. We have two cards underneath the central card, the Ace of Wands and the Moon. And then we have the Two of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles for the future. And I was looking at the back of the deck with the Knight of Wands. So I do believe that the Whiteheads are trying to get this as smooth as possible, trying to make sure that there is not too much chaos, it's not going to get completely out of hand. But the dark energies are really pushing this agenda, obviously. They are really making sure, it gets heated, negative energies. The media is jumping on top of this. My feeling is that some things are being exaggerated. I do believe a lot of things are going on there. That's quite obvious. But I do believe the media is trying to create fear, anger, frustration, lower vibrations. And they're using this to scare other people. And of course here, I even noticed that you're just talking to people that are terrified of what's going on there. What's going to happen if it's happening here in the Netherlands. It's just, this is obviously fear creating and hoping that it will spread. But I do believe that the Whiteheads are in the background trying to work this out, and also that ultimately the military may be placed to help out. So that could be very interesting. I also saw a message that certain equipment that was sent to the Ukraine was sold through the black market and ended up in France. Well, who would be behind that? But this is just interesting. This is especially with the Ten of Cups, which is really the card of connection. Dus ultimately, this will actually help to connect the French people and to heal. This may be very strange even to me, but there is a balance. It's starting again. It will lead to a balance. It will lead to this will lead ultimately to healing, even though this now seems very, how do you say this? It seems very awful. You see it's almost but this is apparently necessary to get all this old pent up energy from frustration and anger that needs to be let go as well. And I think ultimately the people will see that this is not the way forward and that a new energy will arise, especially with the Ace of Wands. And I truly believe that it is up to us to deal with our anger, our frustration, deal with it so we can really, do things from strength. If you're still very angry and very upset, you can be very easily manipulated. The stronger you are by working through that, that doesn't mean you're giving up what you're angry about, but you will be way more effective in dealing with anger and dealing with the issue at hand. If you're very angry, very frustrated, you can maybe something go completely off the handle, you'll be more easily manipulated. But if you work through it first, feel your anger, just feel through it, then you will have this more, balanced path. And you're like, okay, I'm standing up against this, but it won't be out of frustration and anger. And then you'll be able to take steps to change things in a different way. And you won't be able, you won't see this frustration and anger reflected back at you. So I do believe that this ultimately will lead to healing things in France, which is very interesting. That's not something I was expecting from the cards, but sometimes the cards even surprise me. But to be very honest, when I'm feeling and connecting with these cards, I do believe there is a change happening in the background and it will come more and more forward. But this is also a lot of people in France, it's been going on for a long time that when something happens, they'll go out on the streets. They're very easily triggered in that way. And that needs to heal as well. There's all these old fears, anger, frustrations. People need to see that they need to deal with that in different ways as well. And there will be more connection. Like I said, this is part of healing as well. This is unbelievable as it may sound, is part of healing as well, that people realize this is not the way forward. We are destroying our own country. We should be focused on what we truly want and focus on the things that we want, changed, like the government change in France and worldwide. Let's face it, a lot of people want to have completely different systems. That should be the focus instead of destroying things and looting and things like that. So this is the energy I get from France. This is part of the healing process, and it wouldn't surprise me at all, especially with this card, that in the background the Whiteheads are trying to get this as smooth as possible so things don't get completely out of hand. And ultimately I do believe that the military will be brought in. And that will be a way for the Whiteheads to kind of take over as well with the military on all these places. So we are really in a very hectic time period now. This is the energy of for France. And I also looked at, I just have to see, there were two cards that were also in my reading for this coming week. So that was interesting. We have a lot of energies that apparently are similar. These are the energies for coming week. And the first one is the Two of Swords. We have the King of Wands and we have Temperance. So we will see more things from the Whiteheads coming out. Don't believe everything you see or you hear. Really try to connect with your own intuition as much as possible. That will lead to healing. We've got the Sound of Freedom coming out. I've shared a clip from Jim Caviezel on Fox News talking about children, what happens to children, the all the awful things that are happening. This is all part of showing people. So I do think the focus will be on that. And probably things are going to get more and more out of hand worldwide. I do believe so. We're probably going to see more military. That's the feeling I'm getting. They're trying to make sure that it doesn't get completely out of hand and with civil wars, because that's what the dark energies want. They want civil wars. They want people fighting with each other. They want that lower energy, frustration, anger. That's what they want. And I think the Whiteheads are trying to make sure that that's not going to happen in such an extreme way. And they'll take over one way or another. We'll have to wait and see when or what is going to happen. I know a lot of people are waiting for the moment that things will completely collapse. Just be prepared, but alongside, and that's especially now with this advice, just live your life. Live your life. See what still comes up. Things are being triggered now. I notice it in my own life. Things are really being triggered. It's time to evaluate, to step into your power, to really connect with, things you can still heal, but also enjoy your life. Don't look at it take everything so serious. Don't get dragged down with all the things happening around you. See things in a lighter way, use some humor. We could all use it, some lightness. Like, this is ultimately not the end of the world, so to speak. And I actually mentioned in my Dutch video, you'll survive this. You've had past lifetimes. And I was just thinking when I was saying that, yeah, you didn't survive those, obviously. But as Solsa, being a soul, you did survive. So when the past lifetimes, of course, happened, you didn't really die. No one ever, really leaves. The soul is eternal. So don't be fearful of things happening around you. Don't be afraid of that. You are protected. You are a child of God. And see the humor of things. Know that you've already survived so many things, and your soul will always survive. So really trust that process and just evaluate, see what comes up this coming week. And it's very interesting. I think a lot of healing is now coming out. It's very interesting for this week, especially with Temperance. That's, of course, a major arcana card. So that goes deeper. It's a deeper process. And I do believe we are in a healing process. But we're going to see all these things that have been hidden. We're seeing it around ourselves. We see it in the world politics. We see all these, disgusting things coming out. And we also have to face things in ourselves that we don't want to look at. And of course, it's all up to us if we're going to look at it or not. But we are being triggered now. There's a full moon today and the coming days. So there's so much going on in the energy, and it's time that we step up, that we really step into our power, and that we deal with it. And like I've mentioned, it will be up to us whether we're going to follow that or not, whether we are going to deal with it or not. But it is the time now to deal with it, because it's going to get tougher the further we go. And if people do not deal with it, it's going to get very, very tough for them. So we'll have to wait and see how that's going to go. But this is what I've got for this video, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.